to this evening's stream. It's Monday the 9th of February, if I am not mistaken. And we are back with some more daily races this evening. Not daily races, lobby races. Train's gone already. Haven't even started yet. What are we doing today? Well, if I bring up Discord, I will be able to tell you. We're going to be starting off at Lago, Maggiore, East End Reverse. Mixed all that into one. Lago, Maggiore, East End Reversed in the Honda Civic Type R. You can see a few of the guys jumping in already. And we're going to be doing 11 laps around here. Then we're off to San Juan B Reverse in the Group 4s. Heading off to Kyoto, Yamagiwa and Miyabi in the Group 4s as well. And then we're going to be stepping up from 4s to 2s, skipping the Group 3s tonight, up to the Group 2s for a 7-lapper around Deep Forest Raceway. That is what we've got in order. I'm sitting in my chair a little bit differently today because I've got some gungy stuff on my back and I've got my back in a pillow to support it, so we're nice and comfortable. I am not going to be racing this evening at all. I'm going to be commentating all night long and hosting. Good evening to Gamer Dan. Borky, Greg White is in the room too. I can see Tom is in as well. Good evening to you. And Williams just dropping in as well. Good evening to all of you guys. And I can see many of you in the room already. Gamer Dan, Wheels Racing, Borky, Number One Pops, Galactical, Stiggy, Greg White and Scott Cheggers all in the room. One of the things I need to do is let everybody know when we're going to start. So I am going to get the qualifier for this one. And then for the final two, I'll probably skip the qualifying and go straight to the races. One of the things I do want to do is just pull that up. Let me just put Scott into here. What is he? KZN hyphen Scott Chegg GAZ. And he's in on the 9th of the 2nd. And I'm putting him in there because Scott's raced with us a few times. And at the moment, I don't have him listed on the registered racers list. So I'm just going to need, I don't know if he's listening, but I will just need to ask him to register. Good evening, Number One. Good evening to you, my friend. Good evening. And yeah, I'm moving around a little bit funny tonight for obvious reasons. So I apologise for that. What I do need to do is get myself over this way a little bit. And let me just pop you onto the big screen and we'll go on board with Dan. Although one of the things I do need to do is go in here and just going to say my usual. Wait a second. Let me just get this out here. All right, let's see where we're at. Okay, so we've got all that out there. Hopefully Scott Cheggers will join us. I'm also capturing still quite a few new. No, John, stay. I'm pretty sure John is Scott. Oh, bear with me a second. It's hard for me to keep moving around. Right, it's that done. And oh, so much to do to start with. Grace got down wheels track. Right, here we go. All right, where are we? We're going to be going racing in a few minutes. Okay, let's go. So we've got in this one, Greg White, Scott Cheggers, Game of Damn, Wheels Racing, Drew, Drak Fury, Rasta Rick, Borky, Bumblebee, Number One, Galacticor, Stiggy. I'm not going to be racing in this one. Let's get the qualifying underway. So we've got a nice, quick, short, snappy race to start off with, and then we'll be getting into the big ones. I say a short, snappy race. We have got 11 laps around this one, and I'm going to be commentating all night long tonight. Unfortunately, I am not able to race, but we're able to enjoy, and we shall be watching some pretty fine racing, looking at the people that we have got in the room this evening. Let me just put some replay options on, and let's see, have we got anybody out there yet? There we go. So we got Borky's in the pits. He's in the red and pinky coloured one. Galacticor is in the yellow and blue. Number 1 Pops, we've just lost. But let's get out on track and have a look and see who's out on track. Scott Cheggers is in the plain white car with the number 1. Looks like he wants to be number 1 and he wants to be first on track tonight. Let's see how we go. He's being chased by Gamer Dan. Gamer Dan is in the white and black car, the monster car. And he's being chased by Wheels Racing in the number 11 lime green or light green coloured car. Oh, Scott Cheggers just heavily into the wall just then. Then we've got Drat Fury. He's in the Gr.x racing car, the blue one. Bumblebee. Well, Bumblebee I thought would have been in a black and yellow car, but he's not. He's in a purple car. He's in a purple car. Number 7, Rasta Rick. Number 21, the grey car. And then Stiggy, close behind, in the PWR car. He's coming through, silver on the front, or white, no, it's white on the front and black on the back. Flashing his lights as he goes through. And then we got Drew, the number 3 grey car. Galacticor we saw in the blue and yellow. Number 1, he's in the blue car, two-tone blue. And then Greg, oh, he's in a pinky purple car. We had to have somebody in a pinky purple. Oh, it's a Red Bull car. It's got Red Bull, pinky purple. Not quite the Red Bull colours we're used to. Greg's in the house. So we're going to have some pretty good racing tonight. And you can already see that. I did predict it. Look, we've got Drat Fury on the top of the timing charts at the moment with a 50.262. Wheels Racing just behind with a 50.421. Just 1.5 tenths behind. Gamer Dan on a 50.5, just 2.4 back. And then Drew's just punched in a 50.7. So we've got 4 at the moment, all in the top 4 at the moment as we talk. Although it looks like Scott Cheggers with a 51.3 could quite easily jump in, as Greg White does. He's just come in 4th with a 50.7, dropping Drew down into 5th. And then we've got Scott Cheggers as the same with 51.3. Stiggy with a 51.8. Galacticor in a 52, and then Bumblebee and Outlaw in 53s. Rick in a 55 at the moment as Drat Fury goes faster, a 50.262. Wheels Racing just going a little bit wide there. No such drama for Drat Fury. He's remaining on the top of the podium at the moment. Very, very close though. Not a lot between them. 0.086 now. Drew putting in a blinding lap. A 50.348 with a bit of a slide there and a puff of smoke, but he is now less than a tenth of a second off as Greg White goes first. He's the first one into the 49s, a 49.668. That does demote Drat Fury into second with Drew in 3rd. Will's still in 4th at the moment and Dan in 5th right now, but I tell you what, this could still all change. Less than a second covering the top 5, less than a second and a half covering the top 7 as we stand. But it is all changing. They're all in the same car tonight for this particular one. So this is going to be driver against driver. All of the cars will be the same. What should be on? We're on the Sports Soft tyres. I would imagine for most people. I think I left the option of whatever tyres they want to run. Quite naturally, everybody is on the Sports Soft tyre as we would suspect. And at the moment, Greg White at the top of the timing charts, but with Rasterik very, very close behind. Drat Fury in 3rd now. Drew in 4th. Wheels 5th. And Gamer Dan in 6th at the moment as we are running. Going to be an exciting one, this one. We've just got half a minute of the quali and then an overrun to go. So a couple of minutes and then we'll be getting into this one. It is going to be 11 laps. They've done about 6 or 7 practice laps on this one. So quite a few in the 5 minutes. Very, very short track in a fairly quick car. But They are on the sports tyres for this one. So braking in a straight line is key. Using a higher gear is key. Getting that power down and getting that turn in, all very key in this one. And it would be very interesting to see who we can get going nose to tail, side by side in this one. We're still getting faster times being set. Gr.x goes slightly faster with a 49.554. Still the only one in the 49s at the moment. Drew just 2/1000th of a second off of a 49. He's got a 50.002. Drap Fury is just half a second back, and Raceway 0.6, Wheels Racing 0.6, Gamer Dan 0.7, Scott 1.4 back, and Stiggy's also 1.4, Bumblebee 1.9, and then the others 2 seconds over, and a couple of little penalties being thrown there. But as we can see, we have reached the end of the qualifying for this first race. So it will be Gr.x that will lead us away, the only one in the 49s, and then Drew will be joining him on the front row. Row number 2 will be Drap Fury and Raceway, followed by Wheels Racing and Gamer Dan. Behind them is Scott Cheggers and Stiggy. Then we've got Bumblebee and Borky, and then on the back row we have got Galacticor and number 1 Pops. I suspect we might see a few people coming through on this one, and I am going to get the race underway. If I can get my fingers working. So race is going to be starting at, and I'm going to go Gr.x. The reason, some people have asked me sometimes why I do Gr.x all the time. The reason why I do Gr.x is people are in different time zones. So if I put 21:18 and somebody's on the continent and it's 22:18 because they're an hour ahead, it doesn't work. So that's the reason why we do go with the Gr.x, so that people realise it is X number of minutes past the hour that they are on. So we got Gr.x, Drew, Drap Fury, Raceway, Wheels Racing, Gamer Dan, Scott Cheggers, Stiggy, Bumblebee, Borky, Galacticor, number 1 Pops. Let's get this one underway. The first race of the evening, we are going to be at Maggiore, East End Reverse. Points to note on this one is obviously getting a good exit at the bottom of the track, just where the red dot is going down to for the moment on the map. Let me get the right buttons. And then obviously the little squiggly bit, and then the downhill section, all important in this one. So we are 5 lights and we are racing at Lago Maggiore, and it is going to be Greg that is going to lead us away, with Drew just behind, then Drap Fury and Wheels Racing. Will there be any position changes into the first corner? A couple of people already getting those tyres a little bit slidey. They're going to be a little bit cold to start off with, but no dramas thus far that I can see. Everybody getting away very, very nicely. Gr.x out front by 0.3 of a second. Drew half a second ahead of Drap Fury, who has got 2 cars all over the back of him. Wheels and Gamer Dan, I think. Wheels and Gamer Dan going side by side. Gamer Dan just coming out in front, and I think he's got Stiggy glued on his back bumper. Oh, but there's a punt there. I think Gamer Dan was off. I think he got caught, and he's now been promoted to last place, unfortunately. He did seem to shoot forward, which makes me think that somebody potentially overshot into that corner. Hopefully somebody has waited. I think they have. Who was it? So I think it was Stiggy and Gamer Dan. Stiggy has dropped back. So they are going to be in catch-up mode now. And I think that they're both going to be quite racy in this one, if they can get caught up. 11 laps, so there is time to catch up. There's no pit stop in this one. So it will be very, very interesting to see how they go. They're going to need to keep this very, very clinical and just see how they go. We'll check in with them a little bit later on. But out front at the moment, it is Greg just 0.3 ahead of Drew, who's 0.4 ahead of Drap Fury. who is a couple of seconds ahead of Wills, just a little bit further back. So it is these top three that are vying for first place at the moment, as Drew gets his car deep over the curb and into the grass there. You just saw it bouncing around a little bit as he takes a little look up the inside of Greg White. I think Greg saw that coming and went a little bit wide, which I thought that was going to give Drew a run, but it's actually given Drat Fury a run as Drew was just trying to get out of that one. It was a little bit audacious. It didn't quite come off, but 10 out of 10 for trying. So now it's Greg White, who is 0.7 ahead of Drat Fury, who has got Drew all over his back bumper at the moment. Headlights are blazing. Drew kicking up a little bit more dust as he's pushing the track limits to try and get in touch with these two guys in front. Greg White and Drat Fury with a beautiful line through there. Drew going slightly wider, just trying to have a look around. Or is he just showing his headlights in Drat Fury's mirrors to try and intimidate a little bit? That is a tactic. It's all fair. It's all fair. As you can see, he's just going a little bit wider into that one, just trying to get a faster run out of the corner or through this corner. It's a very technical corner, this one. And then we go up the hill, climbing to the tight left-hander. And really important to get this nice, because if you can get on the power quickly, you've got this beautiful run down the hill. We'll just go on board with Greg. He goes over the top here, down the hill, hard on the left hand. And then we're going to continue down the hill, through the left, through the right. And then we come across the start-finish line, continuing down the hills. It's a real technical section all the way down the hill until this big corner here. Oh, Greg getting it a little bit sideways. He's on the marbles too. I don't know if that's going to enable the two guys to catch up. And then we're into the section where we start climbing up. That basically is your lap. And as you can see, the elevation here where we come up into the left-hander, you're almost unseen as you go over the top. Very difficult to see the apex. You've almost got to feel it. And then from here we start this bit's level, and then we go downhill. So this one, a real drop off, hard on the brakes, turning in left, watching for the right-hander as well here. And then the left, it sort of swings around, ebbs and flows very nicely, this track. And as we're saying that, Drat Fury now just 0.3 behind Greg, and Wills has closed up massively. So while we were off watching Greg White, we've seen a bit of a change here. So it's now a 3-horse battle between Greg White, Drat Fury and Wills. Wills really brought himself into this. He's only half a second behind Drat Fury. We're on lap number 6, so we're just about halfway through. Wills is 6 seconds ahead of Drew, so I think Drew must have had a bit of an issue. Rasterick making a move on Drew. He's hard on the brakes. He's got the inside line. I think he's going to get that one done. He does. Just gets out there, but Drew's having to go back. We're side by side. No, Drew needs to just, I don't know, it's hard, isn't it? You think he's got it done, and then you're not quite sure. Very close. Rasterick, Drew, Scott Cheggers and Gamer Dan all together. So Dan has got himself into the action now. Gamer Dan up into 6th now. Dan is, after dropping to the back with Stiggy. Just a little bit further back, we've got Galactica and Borky in a fine battle. And then just behind number 1 Pops, Stiggy and Bumblebee bringing up the rear at the moment. Out the front though, it is Greg White, who is holding off a very fast charging Wills. Wills and Drat Fury going side by side. They're swapping paint. I think there may well be a bit of panel beating needed at the end of this one. All fair though. Rubbing is racing. Drat Fury just getting through at the moment. Wills doesn't want any of that. He wants that place back. Greg White 0.7 out front whilst these two are battling. The battle between these two down to 0.2 of a second. The sunshine is blaring down as Wills, gets it horribly wrong. Gets into the back of Drat Fury and T-bones Drak off. Oh, that was a shame. That was a shame. That was a big hit there. Unfortunately, Wills got it all wrong under braking. I think the back end of the Civic went round across the grass into the side of Drat Fury. Nothing that Wills could do with that. That was a driver error. Unfortunately, it didn't end well and it compromised Drat Fury. That has enabled Greg to run away. He's now Well, I think he's slowed down, actually. He must have seen what happened in his mirrors, and he's done the respectful thing. He's closed up, and he's allowed Drat Fury to get right on his back bumper. So we are pretty much resumed between Greg and Drat Fury. Can William compose himself, and can he close up and continue to turn that into 3-horse race that it was before? Can he keep a wheel off the grass and make sure that the back end of that car doesn't come around again? Just behind, Gamer Dan has made his way up into 4th position, and he's just 1.3 behind this leading group of 3. If I know Wills, that will have unsettled his nerves a little bit. He's an extremely, extremely respectful racer, and he will be feeling gutted at that unforced error. But it does happen when you're pushing. When you're pushing hard and you're on the limit, mistakes do happen. He gave the place back, was respectful. Greg White, also respectful. He's enabled it to really close up. So we are now basically half a second between these 3 runners again. Greg could have run away, but he's given us the spectacle that we were watching build, and has been building all the way through here, although Greg goes 0.7 ahead at the moment. So Drat Fury falling back just by a couple of tenths, and you can see Wills right on the back of Drat Fury. So Wills now needs to try and make a very clean pass. That green car looking a little bit second-hand on the front there with a smashed headlight and bumper. He gets a run up the inside. Oh, that's a nice move. Drat Fury's kept his foot in. No, it's side by side. So come down the hill. Oh, the two of them are still getting into each other. But I think the Wills did have the inside for that one on that occasion. So Drat Fury is now going to have to tuck in behind. Oh, Drat Fury looking like he's got the inside, but no. Wills closes the door. Wow, hard fighting between these two. Very hard fighting between these two. Drat Fury, he's pushing so hard. The back of that car squirming around. Oh, no. Wills loses 2 places as Drat Fury and Gamer Dan go through. Gamer Dan right on the edge of the track. Wills trying a slightly tighter line whilst these guys are arguing and fighting. We've got Greg is way out in front now, but this is for the last 2 spots on the podium. Gamer Dan has got himself right into this one. Wills got a lovely line behind Drat Fury, but he couldn't quite make it happen. He's had to tuck in between Gamer Dan. Wills going for a deeper line. Oh, I think Wills actually outbroke himself there. That was a real shame. That has enabled Drat and Gamer Dan to run away, and Wills has now got Drew right on his back bumper for company, and on the line he is. Drat Fury 0.086 ahead of Gamer Dan, who was recovering from the back. A little bit further back, well, we've got Bumblebee and we've got Stiggy and Scott Cheggers together. Scott Cheggers just a little bit off the back, sorry. Stiggy and Bumblebee were coming across together, and Scott just bringing up the rear at the moment. But boy, oh boy, that was hard to see where to look in that one. Greg got lucky. There was a little incident behind. He got away. He gave the place back, and he still managed to get away from the guys behind. William giving it everything in that one, but unfortunately just having a couple of little incidents that cost him badly. And then Gamer Dan coming through from the back. Absolutely amazing. What a brilliant, brilliant race. I tell you what, if it's going to be like that all night, we're in for a cracking night of racing. We really are. I was watching the mini championships on the TV the other night, on the proper professional racing, and it was no better than what we've just seen, I tell you. The result, Greg White, 49.901. He took the top podium place. Drat Fury did get second ahead of Gamer Dan by 1/10 of a second. Drat Fury with a 49.7 and and Gamer Dan with a 49.8. Wills, a fine 4th and the fastest lap, a 49.576. So congratulations to Wills for a very fine fastest lap. Drew in 5th, Rasta Rick in 6th, Galacticor 7th, Porky 8th, Number 1 Pops there in 9th, Bumblebee 10th, Stiggy 11th, and Scott Cheggers in 12th. Your top 3 for the night, Greg White, Drat Fury and Gamer Dan. But I tell you what, there was some good old battles throughout the field. So it's not necessarily all about who comes across in the top 3. I know I always shout those out. It's just something you always do. but some really, really great little battles going on behind. So now we're stepping up into the Group 4 cars. We're at San Croix B reverse. We're going to be doing 6 laps around here, 2 and 2 tyre and fuel on the racing soft tyres. And it is a straightforward sprint race again. Upstomp, good evening. Thank you for popping in and saying hello. Ollie, good evening to you too. And welcome to you guys. Thank you for popping in. Obviously, I'm not looking at the chat quite as much tonight because it's over there and I'm looking over this way, and I'm sitting in my chair with a pillow because I'm all comfy. Joe's put some I believe on my back, and I've got a nice pillow which is keeping it warm, and I'm all nice and comfy laying down. So I'm a little bit lower in the seat tonight. I should have adjusted the camera, but never mind. We've got it set up for when I'm racing. And, well, what a cracking race that was. So, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what cars people dive into in this one. Let's put some info on. The Elantra is becoming quite a popular car for the GR4s at the moment. It is the new one. Gamer Dan is in his black and red livery, just flashing his lights as he goes through. Hello, Dan. Very, very, very popular. Number one's actually gone for the Mazda. The Mazda 3. He's picked up a 3-second penalty somewhere along the line. Don't ask me to call out the colour on that car. It's a bit gold and pink and every shade in between. And it changes colour as it goes by. So we're just going to... Black Fury says the G70 is banned, is it? Not if I was racing, I would be in it. Ollie in the Citroen. Interesting choice around here, the Citroen. Going to be very, very interesting to see how that car goes. Wheels is in the Alpha 155. Libyath has joined us in the Hurricane. Drew is also in the Elantra. So we've got a couple in that now. Stiggy's in the Hurricane. He's in the FedEx one. Well, I tell you what, Stiggy's going to... He's going to be dropping off parcels on the way around, so there's no way he's going to win. He's already got a 3-second penalty for stopping off in the pit lane to drop parcel off. I understand he had to drop a gearbox into wheels after that last race. When he was going down the hill, he slammed the gearbox and he went bang, 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 chaka, 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 shredded the gears, and he's just had to drop a gearbox in. So no such problems in this one. He's going to be going fine, his wheels. Don't you worry about that. Rasta Rick, also in a Mazda. Borky has gone for the Swift, I think that is. It is. Borky in the Swift. Bumblebee, he's in the Mazda. We've got a few Mazdas coming out tonight. Galacticor looks like that might even be a Veyron. That will be an interesting call if that one comes out. And Drat Fury in the Sylvia. You always know that he's got the blue and turquoise livery with the lime green wheels on. Very, very distinctive, and we often see him out in that Group 4 car. Right, one other thing I do need to do while we're jibber jabbering, because I don't think I did it, is I'm just going to let everybody know that the qualifier is going to start at 35. So just under a minute and we'll get the qualifier underway. While I was enjoying the cars, I was remiss at not telling people when we would be going racing. Tom says, that was a good result for me. I think I should quit now. Oh, no. No. You can't do that, Tom. You can't do that. I think you need to go and you need a win. We're looking for a win tonight. Up stomp. Red, no blue. Ah! Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So we've got 13 runners at the moment. Gamer Dan, Ollie, Wheels Racing, Drew, Drat Fury, Libyath, Rasterik, Borky, Bumblebee out. Number 1 Pops, Galactical and Stiggy. 12. I lied because I'm not actually racing this evening because I am resting my back. But give me just a second. I need to shut my door. Because I'm commentating, I don't really want to disturb Joe if I can help it. Let me just get back into my chair carefully. Bear with me a second. Get back into the same position I was in because it was comfy. Comfy. I might be looking like I'm laying down. I sort of am tonight. I sort of am. Right, let's go. So, your runners. Gamer Dan, Ollie, Wheels Racing, Drew, Drat Fury, Libiath, Rasterik, Borky, Bumblebee Croix, Number One Pops, Galacticor and Stiggy. They will be your runners. Let's get the qualifying underway and we'll see how they can do. That Veyron's going to be interesting. Just some long straights. Very, very interesting to see how that Veyron goes. Very interesting. Do you want to shut that so I don't disturb you tonight? You all right? Yeah, I'm comfortable. I've got a pillow in my back, keep my back warm. I'm looking after myself. You can stop worrying. Go on, go and have a good night's sleep. Night night.
Night.
Where are we? Let's get some info up. Incidentally, there's been a few people, I don't know if any of you are watching, of course, been a few people asking for me to do a video on the World Touring Car 600 around the Nordschleife. I have now got that video done and I'm hoping that is going to be going out very early on tomorrow morning. Lots of people out there have been buying very exotic cars like the Jaguar XJ220, the Aston Martin VGT. You know, these are the Aston Martin VGT is about £1 million car, I think. Other people are putting expensive engine swaps in and things like that. I have found an inexpensive car to do it in, and less than 200,000. Just needed the usual power regulator and the ballast and a couple of other bits and pieces. Nothing expensive. That video should be going out sometime tomorrow for those of you that are struggling. Very, very, very easy to do that race in that car around the Nordschleife. But getting back to this one at the moment, this is a long track, this one. So they are probably just going to get the outlap and then one more. Hopefully I've got a long overrun on this one. We'll see how we go. Warrior Bismarck, a good evening. Hope all of you are okay and well. Well, I think we are. I hope we are. Drat Fury says 20 seconds for Greg. Not sure what that's all about. Is that they want Greg to wait 20 seconds before he goes off? They want a head start. I'm not sure. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. It's not going to happen tonight. How are we doing? Oh, we've got 25 people watching and I've got 12 likes. If the other 12 of you or 13 of you could smack the like button, I'd be very, very, very grateful. Really, really grateful if you wouldn't mind smacking that like button for me. And if you are new around here, if you wouldn't mind hitting that sub button, because I'm bouncing between 5,111 and 5,112 today. Every time I look at it, it's 12, then 11, then 12, then 11, then 12, then 11. Oh, good evening. Good evening, good evening. Thank you for popping in. How are you? Hope you're well. Hope you had a good weekend. I hope everybody's had a really, really good weekend. I really hope you've all had a good weekend. We got some good running going on at the moment. Dan's outlap was a 2:19.8. Ollie's was a 2:20.1. Rat Fury bit back 2:25, but he could have been looking for space. Libia's a 2:23. These are not representative by any shape, any way, shape or form, because obviously they could be looking for space. And I'm hoping that they're going to be able to get around and get a quick lap in. It's a bit tight when you do 5-minute qualies. Sometimes for some of these longer laps, I really ought to do a 10-minute quali. But I do want to try and get the extra races in. Warrior saying I'll be back in the lobby tomorrow, lower back, depending, as struggling the last few days, not getting much sleep due to your own painful. My friend, I can sympathise. I've had really, really bad lower back pain all weekend, Joe will tell you. And I've been on ibuprofen over the weekend and it's much, much better today, but I'm not racing for exactly the same reason. I'm resting my back and I'm not going to go racing again now until it is sorted out. Although Paul does say I'm good, thanks, hoping I'll jump in for an evening this week. That would be cool, Paul. Look forward to seeing you when you are ready. As always with my lobbies, I always do a jump in, jump out affair. So there is absolutely no requirement for people to race. If there's just one race that you fancy one evening, you can just jump in for one if you want. Really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. All very casual around here. So, what's how Galacticor's going? Galacticor's in that Veyron. Very interesting card. Not often we see the GR4 Veyron out. Obviously quick in a straight line. Not sure what it's like around the corners and what it's like getting up to speed. We will have to see. Could be very, very interesting. And we won't know the lap times until the guys come to an end. They are chasing a 2:25.3, which has been set by Gamer Dan. Ollie is a second off of that. Libiaf just jumping in with a 2:25.9. So half a second-ish back. But Wheels Racing has just banged in a fastest lap. A 2:25.0. What a lap that is. We've got 3 in the 2:25s now. Wheels, Gamer Dan and Borky. Stiggy a 2:26.4 and Bumblebee a 2:28.8 at the moment. We'll wait and see where the others jump in. Rasterick with a 2:27.4 jumps in 8th. Galacticor in 10th with a 2:35.0. And we're still waiting on number 1 and Drew. I wonder where they are going to fit in. Oh, Drew's got a 3.5 second penalty. That is going to hurt and almost definitely put him down the back. He does serve the penalty, but he's going to be so off. And number 1 bangs in a 2:24.5 and the fastest lap at the very, very last minute. What a lap. The only one in the 2:24s at the moment, unseating Wheels from the first place. Wow, half a second ahead of the best of the rest. Number 1, where did that come from? I bet Wheels is gutted. Dan in 3rd at the moment. But what a lap from number 1 in the Mazda 3. Following the last update, seeing a lot more of the Mazda 3. It was the OP. It was the only GR4 car to be in at one point. It then got nerfed and it went out of fashion a little bit. But wow, number 1 pops absolutely blinding. Warrior was on pain relief, but nerve relaxes. But his GP has lowered the dose due to changing med. Oh, it's horrible. Back pain is so bad. I'm hoping mine is just temporary. I've got a friend who has terrible, terrible back issues, and my heart does go out to, well, there are plenty of people around with back issues at the moment, and I'm not going to say any more, but you guys know who are not well at the moment or got family members that aren't well, and you know, I do think about you. I don't always get a chance to reach out all the time to people. Ollie has just snuck in a fastest lap while I was talking, a 2:23.7. Dan in there with a 2:23.9, so we all changed at the end there. We got Ollie and Gamer Dan on the front row with 2:23.7 and 2:23.9 respectively. Number 1 Pops and Wheels Racing on the second row with a 2:24.5 and a 2:25.0 respectively. Then we've got Borky and Libiath, Drat Fury and Stiggy. Behind them, Rasterick and Bumblebee Croix, and then Galacticor and Drew. And then at the back, we've got Greg and Scott, 2 8+ ranked racers, both of which have not set times in this one. So they are almost definitely going to be looking at starting from the back. And I'm going to start this one at 1:45. Wow. Wow, it did all change at the front there, didn't it? I thought it was going to be Wheels on the top for the longest time. And then number 1 stole it. And then right at the very end, Dan and Ollie came in and stole the front row away from Pops and Wheels. Pops and Wheels are going to be wanting a really good flyer off of this one. Now, I'm not quite sure what the Citroen and Elantra are like off of the line. The Mazda can be a little bit tetchy with the front wheel drive depending on the traction control. But you watch that Alpha 155 off the line. If Wheels is not towards the front of the pack as we go into the first corner, I will be amazed. Borky in 5th. Libiath in 6th. Drat Fury still in the Sylvia in 7th. Stiggy stopping off to drop off that gearbox to Wheels on the way round. He's in 8th and the rest behind. Right, we are at 45. Let's see how we go. We're going to start this one. Ollie, he's talking to Gamer Dan. He said, I saw XD. I messed up the first corner on the last lap. That's a shame for you, my friend. But good for the rest. Number 1 Pops has not done this track. William confirms that he is gutted. He says in the chat here, the YouTube chat, William is gutted. It is official. Oh, come on, William. Let's go for the win now, my friend. Let's go for the wind. Go for the wind. Go for the wind. Go for the wind. I said it again. Go for the win. Oh, runs. Missed the start there. I'm jibber-jabbering too much. There you go. I said it, didn't I? I called it. Wheels almost out front as we go into the first corner. That 155 very, very quick off the line and quick off the corners. So hopefully Wills won't outbreak himself in this one and he'll be able to fight for a podium here. He is 0.6 behind Ollie. Ollie very, very quick around here, and that Citroen looking like a very, very, very quick car. Number 1 Pops just off the back. 0.2 between Wheels Racing, number 1 Pops, and 0.2 back to Gamer Dan. So not a lot between them, as I say that. Dan and Drat Fury both off and into the gravel. Both of those two making very unusual, unforced errors. That is going to demote them well down the pack. And poor old Dan is going to be into another recovery. He had a recovery in the first race. He's now in a recovery in this next one. He's going to have dirty tyres too. But it is Ollie out front at the moment, and we've got number 1 Pops and Wheels Racing behind, going side by side through this corner. Long, long, long left-hander, and then we get the right-hander. And then I believe that we're going up and over the bridge, are we? I'm not overly familiar with this configuration. Or am I? Maybe I am. We go down here. Of course I am. I know this configuration. It's different when you're not racing it. It looks different. That's my excuse, and I'm going to stick to it. Outlaw hard on the brakes on the first of the triangles in the middle of the track there, I would suspect. Wheels Racing tight behind. He's got a lovely slipstream, which he's going to have all the way down the straight. This is... I'm getting myself all confused. It is backwards. It is reverse. It is reverse. Not used to this configuration, and it's completely thrown me. So we're going to come around this corner. Whoa, Wheels, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. No, no, no. No. That's not what we want to be doing. Oh, he's let Drew through, and his tyres are going to be horrible. Big, massive slide out that corner as that Alpha went sideways. Drew thought, oh, I'm going to have some of that. Through he goes. He's now picked up third, and that's put Wheels right into the clutches of Stiggy, Gamer Dan and Borky. Borky just off the back of this one. Dan recovering. It's Dan up to 6th at the moment. He's got Borky right on his back bumper in that Swift. And I'll tell you what, that Swift is looking swift. It's looking really good around here. Dan in the Elantra, and he's got that FedEx Hurricane in front. Has the FedEx got any drops to do? Oh, we've got more cars off. Oh, no. It seems to be that position number 3 is a poison chalice in this one. Every time somebody gets into position 3, they're in trouble. Drew into position 3 and off. That has promoted Wheels Racing back up into 3, but Wheels is now 3.7 off of the back of number 1 Pops, with a gaggle of cars behind. He's got Drew, Dan, Stiggy, Borky, all behind him and all pushing hard. Gamer Dan just making a move on Drew there. He's up into 4th. He wants that 3rd position back, even though he knows it's going to be a dodgy one. Oh, so close to the wall. How on earth did Borky get away with that? Borky looked like he gave the wall a real, or that the barrier, a real clout just before we came across the bridge. You saw the car just jinx sideways. He managed to get away with that. He must have some heavy damage on the front, I would imagine. Not showing on the graphic. So maybe that was a bit of netcode or something, but he got away with it. He's going well though, just off the back. Bumblebee in 8th at the moment. Just off the back of this group. He's only 2 seconds behind, and he's got Drat Fury behind him for company. and Gr.x has got Raceway, and then Galactico and Libiath all for company. They're a little bit off the pace at the moment in this one, because the pace is super fast out front. We've got Ollie, he's 4 seconds down the road in that Citroen. Looks like that was a great choice of car. Number 1 Pops in second in the Mazda, going well. He's 3.5 seconds ahead of Wills. Wills has got cars all over the back of him. It looks like Dan has picked up a 1 second penalty for some reason. I don't know whether that's a track limit or whatever. The Gamer Dan needs to get on it. He is getting on it. He's gone up the inside of Wills, keeping it nice and tight. Loads of room on the outside. I'm not quite sure where the penalty is going to be served in here, but Dan tucks in behind Wills Racing. Are these guys going to work together and push to try and get up onto number 1 Pops? Gamer Dan really needs to get on with this though, because he is going to drop into the clutches of Drew and Stiggy once that penalty is served, and Wills needs to keep this super clean because he doesn't want to pick up a penalty, because this will give him the opportunity to gap Gamer Dan and then have the opportunity to push onwards. Possibly working together. Just behind we've got Drew, Stiggy and Borky really close together. Look at this. They're flying in formation, these 3 guys. It's like the red arrows in formation. Wow. Wowza. Still together. Stiggy just out front. Drew and Borky side by side behind. Borky just getting in front of Drew. Trying to get up the inside of Stiggy. Stiggy's just dropping ever so slightly. Looks like Stiggy had a not quite as good a run through there, or maybe Drew and Borky working together, because both of those two have managed to just gap Stiggy ever so slightly. Oh, Borky, Borky. Did he move up? Oh, that was close. That was close through there. Stiggy right on the back of Borky again. I think Borky had to get out of that one. I'm not sure he realised that Drew was on the inside as he started to move over there. Then probably saw he was there. I think he had to back out a little bit. And that has let Drew get half a second away. And Stiggy and Borky all over the grass. They're pushing hard, aren't they? They're not leaving anything to chance in this one. We're on lap 3 of 6. And this little group still very much together. Black Fury's trying to get onto the back of this one as well. He's just off the back, not too far away. And I think that this little group could be catching the group up front. Ollie is 9 seconds out front. He's away with the fairies. But behind, we've got number 1 Pops, who's 1.2 ahead of Wills, who's 1.6 ahead of Dan, who's 1 ahead of Drew, who's 1 ahead of Borky, who's 0.4 ahead of Stiggy, who's 0.7 ahead of Bumblebee, who's 0.8 ahead of Black Fury, who's 2.2 ahead of Raceway. Then it's 3 seconds back to Libya, 3 back to Galactico. So we can get Ollie, he's out front. The final podium positions are between Wills and number 1. Wills having that huge sideways lock-up moment. He was 90 degrees to the barrier and he's pushing hard. He's on the grass again. Come on, Wills. Keep it tidy, keep it tidy, keep it tidy. Slow in, fast out. Number 1 Pops will punish you if you are not careful. He wants that second place and he is there looming. He's got it under 4.4 of a second now, under 0.3 of a second. He's got a beautiful slipstream going into this last corner. Number 1 keeping it tidy. Wills trying for a run around the outside. Wills just dicing with the barrier, but I think he kept it out. He did beautifully to keep that ahead. A lovely little sweep around the outside. Number 1 Pops just tucking in behind, and he's got Gamer Dan. Number 1 Pops has got Gamer Dan all over the back of him. Gamer Dan tucks in for the slipstream. Doesn't want to get caught out. He knows that the Mazda is fast. He knows that the Alpha's fast in front, but he also knows that that Elantra is pretty slippery in the slipstream as well. When will he make his move? There's a long way to go in this one. We're on lap 4 of 6. And we're just coming around towards the closing stages of this one. As these guys go around this long sweeping left-hander, they're then going to have a tight right, fast left, tight left, and then they'll be going across the start finishing line. Ollie, way out front. 12 seconds. No, Wills. What are you doing? I'm willing him on to do well, and he's just had a mega moment. He's dropped it massively. Gamer Dan and number one pops out front now. They are going to be fighting it for the podium. I thought the Wills was going to be in there, but Wills. I tell you, Wills is very, very, very quick. And I know how frustrated he must feel, because when I got quick, I got like this. All of a sudden, the concentration would go, or I'd miss a breaking point or something, and I'd lose it. And I feel for Wills, because that's exactly what he is doing right now. Just unfortunately, one or two of these races getting away for him just with the smallest of mistakes. But I tell you what, it will come. It will come. I didn't see what happened, but there we go. It is what it is. Ollie now 14 out front. Gamer Dan and number one. Gamer Dan into the grass now. Number one Pops will have seen that as we're on lap number 5. We've got just over half a lap to go. So number one Pops will see that Dan is really pushing on very, very hard. Dan having a nightmare in the last race. I think he was recovering in this one as well. And just a little bit further back, we've got Borky and Drew. Borky looking for a way through on Drew. He's looking at the inside. Drew's gone the wider line through there. We saw that. It does work. Wills did that a few moments ago. And Drew's gone around the outside. And Borky has had to tuck in behind as we come towards the bridge for one last time. Borky taking the right-hand line. Borky's got a lovely run. He's actually got the move done. What an exit out of that. He pulls over to the left-hand side just to cover the inside. One move before he gets into the braking zone. That's legal. Not a problem there. Nicely done. Just covering off that corner. Drew's got a lovely line up here through the S's, though. We've now got the fast left-hander. Drew ducking up the inside. He's looking at the left. He's looking at the right. He's looking at the left. He's looking at the right. Borky's got that Elantra all over him. He's in the left mirror, the right mirror. The intimidation must be horrendous. He must be building. And I'll tell you what, when Borky's listened to me and he hears his name, it piles the pressure on. He's told me. It piles the pressure on. But he's going well. 25.5, a 25.9 and a 25.1. So he's going quicker as the field is coming down. Nice and consistent. Running well in third. Drew behind, a 26.3, a 25.6 and a 25.4. Number one Pops that they are chasing. Well, he banged in a 2.24.8, which is his fastest lap, and managed to gap the cars behind. But after that, it's a 2.26.3 and a 2.27.4 and a 2.27.4. So nice and consistent for lap 4 and 5. But the guys behind, maybe they're working together. They are closing. They are closing, and they're only, Borky now is less than a second behind number one. Gamer Dan, he's 3 seconds down the road from number one, but a full 17 seconds off of Ollie. Gamer Dan is pushing for all he's worth at the moment to try and close that, but I think that Ollie has got this one in the bag. All he's really got to do is bring that Citroen home. Go on, Dan, you're doing well, my friend. Bring it home for that second. But what I'm interested in is who is going to get the last podium place, because it really is a 3-horse race between Borky, number one Pops and Drew. Number one Pops just getting ahead of Borky. Borky going around the outside. Is he going to cut underneath? He is going to cut underneath. He's got a beautiful line. Wow, what a line through there. And number one Pops just getting a little rub of the bumper. That's let Drew as well. So it's all change in one corner. And Borky is now gapped the two behind by half a second. But that is probably going to close up. I say that. Drew a little bit slow off that corner. It's going to go out to 1.5 seconds. And number one Pops does get past Drew. So all change as we head across the bridge. And it's all going to be important as we come off the bridge and we get into the right and then the fast left. Number one Pops using all of the track and a little bit more. Drew looking for a way through. The track is getting cooler. The sun has gone in. It's getting more cloudy as we go through this one. Ollie out front by some 17.9 seconds. He's going to come across to take the win. A well-deserved win out front. Nobody could touch him in that one. Gamer Dan tried his best, but he is some 18 seconds back. He is exiting the last corner. I think Dan was recovering from an incident, if I'm not mistaken. So that is a cracking result to get the second place on the podium. But we will drop back. It is Borky, Drew, and Drak Fury is up there with these guys now. It's Borky that's going to come across in third, Drew in fourth, Drak Fury is going to get fifth, and then it is a big group of cars that come across at the end of this race. Too many. What have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars all coming across the line together. And Gr.x, unfortunately, off the back of the pack in that Veyron. I was interested to see how that Veyron was going to go, but I think it was a bit too heavy and slow for that one. But what a race we had out front, and what a race mid-pack. That is one to watch back, I think, later on, and to see what happened in the midfield, because we were concentrating a little bit more for the lower podium positions, because it was very exciting watching those guys. And Ollie says, my tyre lasted so much longer than everyone, it seems. D. Richardson, I thought I knocked you off. Drax has slowed down. It wasn't me that knocked you off. Oh, I do that all the time, my friend. And number one, not done that track before. Well, I wouldn't know it, because you did very well in that one. Very well indeed. Everybody did very well. William, gutted in that one. I was too. Where did everybody finish up? Well, Ollie out front in the Citroen owned the race, if I'm quite honest, with a 2:21.8. Fastest lap by some significant margin. Gamer Dan in the Elantra coming through after an incident, 2:23.476 in second. And I believe it was an incident. Anyway, somebody will shout at me if that is incorrect. Borky with a fine third, a 2:25.136. Then it was Drew in fourth, Drak Fury fifth, Stiggy sixth, number one Pop seventh, Bumblebee Croix in eighth. Then we had Libiath in ninth, Wills dropping to the back in 10th after those that big incident. Rasterik in 11th and Gr.x in 12th. Possibly car issues there, because Tom is a lot quicker than that, and that's a bit of a shame to see, but that is the way it goes. Sometimes it's all about being in the right car. And talking about in the right car, what car do you go in? The Citroen, the Elantra, the Swift, the Silvia, the Hurricane, the Mazda 3, they're all up there. Real good mix of cars, lovely to see. And Ollie with the win, Gamer Dan is second, and Borky in third. Right, we are going to be heading off to now Kyoto Driving Park, and we're going to be doing the Yamagiwa and the Miyabi tracks. These are the two linked together. Not one that we do very often, the randomizer, throwing this one out there this evening for them. We are going to be mixing things up a little bit now, because this is only 6 laps. It's a long track. Again, I have got a 5-minute qualifier, so hopefully they will get the qualifying time in. They are in the GR4s, but it is only a 6-lap race. We are 2 tyres, 4 fuel, and the guys will need to fit both the racing soft and the racing medium tyres. Both of those tyres will need to be fitted. Let me just double check that I've set that. Medium soft and medium soft required. So there is going to be a little bit of strategy creeping in on this one. So it's not all about getting the right car. It is also about the strategy, making sure your tyres and your fuel is going to last. And where do you come in for that pit stop? Do you come in? Well, do you start on the harder tyres or the softer tyres? Do you come in early? Do you come in late? If you're in traffic, where do you qualify? All of these questions. All of these questions. So Rasterik out in the Ferrari. Could be a good car around here. Scott Checker's gone for the 4C. Very good on tyres, that one. Always there or thereabouts. There are some long straights, though, for this one, so that could be an interesting choice, but always going to be good on tyres. Greg, I think, has gone for the Elantra. He has. Black and purple car. Grace, good evening. Thank you for popping in. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for the thumbs up. I really appreciate that, my friend. Dan is also in the Elantra. So I think that Elantra could be very quick. We haven't seen the Elantra around here yet, so it could be very, very interesting to see how that runs. Bumblebee has just seen how the Citroen has gone in the last race and thought, oh, I'm going to have some of that. Thank you very much. He has gone for the Citroen. Stig is also in the Elantra, so the Elantra's looking positive in this one. It's looking positive. It's looking popular is the word I want. Not positive, popular. We won't know how positive a choice it is until a little bit later on. Did I say when we were going? No, I didn't. Right. Let's just get this one out. So we're going straight into the race for this one. So this one is going to be starting at 10 past. Just to give the guys a little bit of time to run around and to get used to the cars that they are in. Let's just get back out and spectate. So Rasterick is in the Ferrari, as we saw. Scott Cheggers in the 4C. Greg's in the Elantra. Dan's in the Elantra. Bumblebee's in the Citroen. Stiggy's gone for the Elantra. And then Ollie in the Jaguar. Something a little bit different, but I'm seeing that Jaguar come out a little bit more lately. I don't know if they've done something in recent updates, but that was a car that very, very few people jumped into a while ago. Seeing that out on track a little bit at the moment. Libiath in the Megane, another car that is quick and good on tyres. So some of these guys that are going for good tyre cars, you know, could they be coming in for a very early stop? Could they be going long? Could be interesting to see. Wheels also in the 4C, possibly erring on the side of tyres. Galacticor, he's in the Hyundai. Again, I haven't seen that car around here, so it's going to be very, very interesting. The Elantra is a popular choice, as I said earlier, and often a very safe bet at the moment. New cars in the game often are. Borky's gone for the Elantra too, so we've got quite a few people in that. Number one Pops has gone for the Megane at the moment. Drew is in the NSX, so that is a different car. Drat Fury in the Hurricane, so he's going for speed on the corners. And those are the runners and riders at the moment. So just to go through that list one more time, and obviously the game is going to decide the starting order on this one. We have got, and of course, without doing the qualifier, I do mix things up a little bit, because they can't then come in and should we do the qualifier? Should we do the qualifier? I'm in two minds now. The fact the strategy's in and it's only 10 past 10, I do need to finish at 11. Number one Pops is saying no. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. We'll stick with it as it is. We'll stick with it. But it's going to be interesting because they won't know how the tyres are going to last. And they don't know where they don't necessarily know where they're going to start. Because very often, if you start at the front of the pack, then people will often decide to go with a softer tyre. Whereas if they are in the middle or the back of the pack, sometimes they'll go with the harder tyre. Or is somebody up the front going to decide to go with the harder tyre and back the pack up? So they then got the benefit of the softer tyre later. Who knows? Who knows? Number one saying you'd only get one lap in anyway. That was what I was thinking. That was sort of why I just went straight into the race for this one, to be honest. And I think, you know me, I often think that I've done something wrong and I changed my mind, and I really, really shouldn't do that. So Rasterick looking nicely composed around there. Scott Cheggers in the white Alpha. Greg White in the black and purple car does look good with Gamer Dan chasing him hard. I thought Greg was going to go in the pits then, but maybe he was trying to get Gamer Dan to go into the pit wall. Oh, Gamer Dan's too wise for that. Scott's just parking it up alongside Drat Fury, just at the side of the pack. Oh, as Greg White and Gamer Dan going hard. So Scott Cheggers just parking that up really nicely. Gamer Dan came in and gave him a white wallop. That's not very nice, Dan. What are you doing? What are you doing? If I was Scott Cheggers, I'd stick that in first gear and swipe you. I would. I wouldn't. Right, let's just see where we're at. Right, 22:10. They're parking up because it's time to go. Greg White, Scott Cheggers, Gamer Dan, Ollie, Wheels Racing, Drew, Drat Fury, Libiath, Rasteric, Borky, Bumblebee, Outlaw, Galactical, and Stiggy. They are your runners. Let's start this one and we'll see how we go. I'm going to assume that that is the start order, in which case we've got Greg White and Scott and Dan and Ollie going off. He's going to be quick. Wheels is going to be right in there. He just needs to make sure that he keeps it in a straight line. He needs it in a straight line this time. It is going to be Gamer Dan leading away, Greg White. Then we've got Ollie and Bumblebee on row number 2. Then we've got Scott Cheggers and Libiath. So it has been mixed up a bit. Raster and Wheels in 7th and 8th. Drew and Drat Fury going to be 9 and 10. Borky 11th with number 1 Pops. And then Stiggy and Galactical. But up front, it is Gamer Dan that has got a blinding start. He is just ahead of Ollie as we go into the first corner. I was hesitating. I wondered whether Ollie was going to get a move around the outside. But in actual fact, Greg has got a lovely move up the inside. He's also going to get the, well, it's going to be inside, outside, inside for the S's. Ollie managed to just dive in at the beginning of the S's. Greg White's tucking in behind. But I tell you what, that Elantra is looking quick. And Greg White will not want Gamer Dan to get away. He will not want to get away. He's going to be hustling Ollie to get a shift on as we go through the long, fast left-hander. Not many of them hooking up the curb to pull the car around like we do in the GR3s. Maybe not quite needed so much in these GR4s. As we head down the hill, it's going to be hard on the brakes. We've then got the right-hander, and then we're going to have to switch back for the left to join the Miyabi part of the track. Running both the Yamagiwa and Miyabi for this one. So this is the little track that we often do the karts on. This little S here, sort of like an elongated chicane, as it were. Again, very cautious. A lot of the guys on the curb through there. They're not using the inside of the curb at all in these cars to drag the cars around quicker. Maybe that is not something that is going to work in this one. You see 2 cars, 3 cars off on the curb and 1 on the grass at the back there. But it is Gamer Dan who is out front by 0.6 at the moment, with Greg White is all over the back of Ollie. Greg can't quite find his way through at the moment. He really does need to get through so that he can get on to the back of Gamer Dan. Ollie is no slow coach, but I do feel that that Jaguar is holding up the Elantra ever so slightly at the moment. It's only tenths, maybe a couple of tenths, 2 or 3 tenths a lap, but you can see that Greg White is glued to Ollie's back bumper. Absolutely glued, but he just cannot find a way through. Scott Cheggers going well in 4th place. Now, I haven't done the tyres. I don't know whether I want to talk about tyres because he gives things away. But we have got a bit of a mix. We've got a bit of a mix as I'd expected. So Gamer Dan out front, he's going to come across the line to start lap number 2, 0.4 of a second ahead of Ollie. Ollie's 1.5 ahead Greg White. Greg still really glued onto his back bumper, and Scott Cheggers is going to want a little bit of this action. Greg hooking up the inside of the corner now, and look at the difference. Pulled him round and he's got himself level with Greg. He puts another wheel in. Ollie hooking up the curb now as well. Greg hooking up that one too, and he's hooked up that one and he's got that move done finally. Picking up on the curbs, I think pulled him round, gave him that extra little bit of speed. It's a bit daring, you've got to be a little bit careful, but if you can do it, it works. You can do it on that corner too, if you're brave, and it can really slingshot you off. It can find you a good few tenths of a second. It's not found him a lot. He's 0.4 ahead of Ollie, and Ollie will want that one back. Greg White with purple sectors at the moment, purple sector times. He's on it. He's going to be going after Gamer Dan now. It's going to be Elantra on Elantra. Gamer Dan with the advantage at the moment out front by half a second. Greg White has gapped Ollie by 0.4 of a second now, and Ollie's got Scott Cheggers chasing him down. He's 1.5 seconds back at the moment, so Ollie's still got the benefit of the slipstream to the Elantras at the moment, and Ollie's going to need to be pushing. Scott taking out a tenth here and a tenth there, but it's not really enough at the moment. That 4C really needing to get pushing. Ollie setting best laps, purple times coming up. So you could see how hard he's pushing at the moment. Rasterick, he's going well in 5th at the moment. 3-4 seconds behind Scott. But he's got Bumblebee and Borky all over him at the moment. This is one of the midfield battles. Lovely paint job on that Citroen of Bumblebee. And we got was that the Ferrari Rasterick going a little bit wide. He's all over the grass. He's going to have dirty tyres now. Borky staying well over to the left hand side, saying if you're going to come flying across the track, I'm staying out of your way. That's paid off. Oh no, Bumblebee off and Borky's followed, and Rasterick as well. No, guys, don't race the car in front, race the track, otherwise you will follow the guy off in front of you. Could have that been a golden rule broken with those guys? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not driving. I don't know. But when you see one car follow another one off like that, invariably, the car following is literally following the car in front. You have got to continue to watch the racetrack and think about your braking points, because if the guy in front brakes too late, you still want to hit yours and then get the undercut. But it's still nice and tight. Borky just ahead of Drew at the moment, with Bumblebee just behind, but there's nothing between these guys at all. Well, there is nothing between Borky and Drew. They are side by side, and Bumblebee is right on the back of Borky. Borky with a half-second penalty now. That is going to drop him back a little bit, and Drat Fury in the Hurricane is really getting into this. Drat Fury using the inside of the curb. Borky goes a little bit wide, and Drat Fury using the curb has got himself into 6th place. He's jumped a number of cars there and gapped the guys behind by, what, 0.7 of a second. So again, it does look like the people that are hooking up the curbs and using them to slingshot the cars around, it is playing into their hands a little bit. I tell you what, out front though, look at this. Gr.x has managed to hit the front. Whilst we were enjoying all of the action behind, Greg has managed to get in front of Gamer Dan, but Gamer Dan is right on the back. Slipstream could be coming into play with these two. Oh, Gamer Dan just getting into Greg White's back bumper. Gamer Dan, I would have thought he would have lifted and just let him through. There's no way that Dan is going to take a move like that. One of the most respectful guys on the track. I say one of because all really respectful. Very respectful. But tyres are going to play a part in this, and tyres are going to start playing a part very, 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 very soon. The thing is, the guys really don't know how they're going to play in. We can see this. We can see what's happening here on the channel. Don't write off Scott. Scott is right in there. I did tell you the 4C was an interesting car to watch because it was going to be good on tyres. Some of the other cars that will be good on tyres would be the Hurricane. Also, the other car that would be good that I mentioned, I don't think is the Renault Megane. Libiath running down in 12th at the moment with Wheels Racing, also in the full C in 13th. And number 1 in the other Megane just off the back at the moment. And we've got people piling into the pits. Scott carries on as I had suspected, but we got lots in. We've got Gamer Dan, Greg White on the softs going to mediums. Ollie and Drat doing the same. Drew on softs going on to mediums. I think Stiggy, mediums going softs. Bumblebee, softs going mediums. So we still got a little bit of a mix, but the Elantra really hard on those soft tyres. Very, very hard on those soft tyres. And Scott Cheggers now 14.5 seconds out front. He will need to do a tyre change, but what's going to be really interesting is he can really get the hammer down now. And, well, what is the pit time around here? 20 seconds maybe? Has he got to find 6 seconds? Can he find that time? Gamer Dan, Greg, Ollie, all on the medium tyres. Drat Fury on the soft tyres. So Drak is really nicely positioned to do something here. Stiggy's also on the soft. Drew on the mediums at the moment. So Drat Fury and Stiggy could be on the move here. Scott Cheggers on the soft tyres at the moment, and you can see that only now on lap 4 of 6 is that little 4C starting to chew up the tyre on the offside. It was such good on tyres, and that has given him, well, I say it was giving him an advantage. He's now 13 seconds, so Greg and Dan finding more time. Dan just giving Greg White a little bit of a love tap on the way through there, just letting him know he's there. But Greg is going to get the inside into the right-hander. Then we're going to be going up the hill through this little twisty section of Greg just in front. Gamer down with Ollie all over the back of him. I was wondering whether the Jaguar was going to fall away. It certainly hasn't. It's staying with these two Elantras. Amazing racing. Look at this, these three together. This really is like watching professional racing drivers on the television. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, Greg on the dirt. Oh, he's going to have dirty tyres. Really dirty tyres. And he has to tuck in behind Ollie. A rare mistake from Greg White there. Oh, what a shame. Scott has come into the pits. The boys are going to go to work very, very, very quickly. He's 12 seconds ahead. Dan, Ollie and Greg coming across the line now. Where is Scott going to come out? He gets moving now, but he is going to come out in 4th. Just behind these guys, you can just see them down the road. They're only 3.5 seconds down the road. How quickly can he get up to speed? But out front, Ollie hits the front by 0.008. Gamer Dan's not having any of that. Gamer Dan on the inside, Ollie on the inside. Dan just tucks in behind. Pushing Ollie. That Elantra's quick. We know it's quick. Dan going for the inside. He gives the camera a little bit of a wobble. Please don't do that, Dan, and lose it. Is he going to hook up the inside of the curb? He doesn't. Does Greg White hook up the inside of the curb? No, Dan does hook up the inside of the curb. He uses it. Lovely exit. Ollie can't find any way through there. Greg is watching this, but he's nearly 3 seconds back. It is Ollie and Gamer Dan. There are battles all the way through here, but on lap number 5, we still got a lap and a half to go, and I'm getting excited. I thought this was nearly all over. No, it's nowhere near over. We've got loads to go yet. Dan and Ollie battling it out front. Greg White recovering. He's 3 seconds back, and Scott Cheggers has seen that. He's only 2 behind Greg now and pushing hard. Jack Fury and Stiggy side by side with Drew just off the back. Stiggy and Jack Fury going through there side by side. We're on the Miyabi part of the circuit. You can't go through here side by side, boys. It's not going to end well. Oh no, they're going to go 3 wide now. Oh my word. Wow. Wowzers. Wowzers. Oh my word. Stiggy still coming up back at Jack Fury, looking for a way around the outside. Now he's going to look for the inside. Drew is all over the back of these two. If there's any bump, any scrape, Drew is going to be through. Any door banging, Drew's going to be through. If Drew can pick up the right slipstream, he could be through. Oh, this is exciting. Oh, Stiggy's gone a bit wide. Jack Fury got up the inside, and Drew actually went on to the outside behind Stiggy. Drew had an opportunity to follow Jack Fury through there, but I tell you what, Stiggy's not having any of it. Jack Fury does get it done. Stiggy holding... Oh no, Jack Fury off. He pushed too hard. No, that's let Stiggy through again. I can't keep up. I cannot keep up. They're side by side again. Jack Fury and Stiggy. Nothing between them, and Drew still sitting there waiting, watching, picking up the pieces. Just behind Rasta Rick and Bumblebee Croix. They're going well together. And the rest is a few gaps behind. We've got Libiath in 10th, Galactico in 11th, number 1 Pops 12th, Wheels Racing in 13th, Borky in 14th at the moment. Out front, it is Gamer Dan just ahead of Ollie. And I say just, it's 0.06 of a second. They're effectively side by side. Where you can see that isn't quite true because Ollie is right on the back bumper of Gamer Dan. Dan all over the curb there, using all of the track and more to try and keep Ollie behind. Ollie, the back end of that Jaguar, really loose under braking. Gamer Dan taking a slightly more defensive line. Ollie taking a slightly wider line, seeing if he can get more drive off the corner. He can't. Gamer Dan on the inside. Gamer Dan keeping it tight. Ollie going wide and trying to get more exit speed. Gamer Dan on the power. Ollie's got no answer for him at the moment. Greg White, 3 seconds off the back of this. 4.6 back to Scott Cheggers. We've got all sorts of battles going on behind, but I am going to join these two up front on the last lap because this is absolutely incredible. We've got Gamer Dan and Ollie, and there is nothing between them. 0.1, 0.2 of a second. One misdemeanor, one minor mishap, one track limit, one bump, and Greg White could be right up with these guys. Gamer Dan on the racing mediums. Ollie on the racing mediums. They've got absolutely no problems with tyres. They know they're going to get to the end. Greg's also on the mediums. He knows he's going to get to the end. They will look to see what tyres each other was on. So they know there's going to be no tyre advantage for the top three. Scott Cheggers on the racing medium also. He's just a little way off the back. Unfortunately, the strategy of going along on the tyres didn't quite work out. I was wondering whether it might, but it hasn't stopped an absolute barnstormer of a race. Ollie looking up the inside of Gamer Dan there. Gamer Dan all over the curbs and a little bit more. Just trying to keep the pace up. Trying to keep ahead of Ollie. Ollie looking left and looking right. Dan with a beautiful exit off of that corner to come across to take the line. Unfortunately, Ollie is not going to have any answer. He has got the slipstream. It is going to be less than 0.2 of a second. 1.3 on the line. 3.3 to Greg. Then it's going to be 5 back to Scott Cheggers, who comes across the line on the grass. Then we've got Rasterick, Drat Fury, Drew and Libiath all together. We've got a little bit of a battle going on here. Drew trying to get up alongside Drat Fury. Can he do it? No! Tight on the line. Libiath right up close behind. Stiggy's going to get 9th with Wheels just ahead of Galacticor. Bumblebee delighted to be coming across in 12th by the looks of it. Borky 13th and number 1 14th. Looks like there were some nice battles at the back, but boy oh boy, I couldn't keep up with that out front. That was incredible. John saying a lonely race for him. Gamer Dan, why didn't you just put me out my misery and take me out? Ollie says Dan was fighting like crazy in that one. That was stunning out front. Oh my word. I'm going to have no voice at the end of tonight. I tell you what, it's probably easier to race, less energetic to race. The commentary is just so hard to keep up with these boys. So hard to keep up with where everybody is. And when you're doing it live and you don't know what's happening and you don't know what's going on and you're trying to jump around all of the different runners and pick up the action, it really does get your brain going. I tell you, I love it. Tom just apologising to Borky. Looks like they might have had a little bit of an incident, and Ollie saying would never do that to Dan. Ollie and Dan having an absolute barnstormer of a race, and I tell you what, we are going to be stepping it up big time in a minute. We're going from GR4s to GR2s. Who can cope with the power? Well, Gamer Dan a 2:31.6 for the top step. Ollie in second with a 2:31.9. Greg White fighting back for the last of the podium places in third with a 2:31.106 and the fastest lap, looking like half a second faster as well. So he was pushing at the end. Scott Cheggers in fourth, Rasterick fifth, Drat Fury sixth, Drew in seventh, Libiath in eighth. Then Stiggy ninth, Wheels Racing 10th, Galacticor in 11th, Bumblebee Croix in 12th, Borky 13th, and number 1 in 14th. As I said before, the top three, Gamer Dan, Ollie and Greg White, it isn't about who is the winner. We know that those guys are fast, but there were battles all the way through. Jack Fury, Drew and Libiath all on the line at the end. Stiggy and Wheels were in the battle there as well. Just battles all the way through, and that's what I absolutely love to see. Right, event settings. As I said now, we are going to Deep Forest Raceway for this one in the GR2s. So we are stepping it up 2 categories for this one. This is going to be 7 laps around here. We are 7 tyres and 4 fuel. They do need again to run the racing soft and the racing medium tyres. What car are they going to run? What is their strategy? We will find out in a very few minutes. Just the guys just sorting a few little bits and pieces out in the chat there very respectfully. Thank you very much. And Drat Fury saying one thing, please try and plan your corners pre-entry. Several people had some interesting consequences post-entry. They did. And it's going to be interesting in this one because what car are people going to use? The NSS concept, often a favourite of mine. I know that the Nismo, the GTR Nismo is a popular one too, and those are the cars that we're seeing at the moment. The Nismo and the concept exclusively at the moment. Is anybody going to come out in the RS? Yes, they do. Rasterik has jumped into the RS. We're looking for the Lexus now. And then we will see how we go. Borky also in the RS5 Turbo, as is number one Pops, as is Bumblebee Croix. This could be interesting. We've got quite a few number one. A lot of the guys that are mid-pack in here have gone for the RS5 Turbo. Greg's also gone for the Turbo, the RS5 Turbo. He's one of the fast runners. He's A+. Scott Chegger's A+ in the NSX concept. I haven't seen too much of Scott tonight. I don't know whether he's just taking it easy at the moment. I would have expected to see Scott up there in the top 3 or 4. We'll see how we go. We're just going straight into the race for this one. And I am just going to let everybody know when the race is going to start. So the race for this one is going to be starting at 35. And I will be bringing the lobby to an end at the end of this one, I'm afraid, because I'm just trying to rest to get well so I can get back racing with you guys and also doing the daily races as well. Taking a bit of a break from those this week. Oh my gosh, if you looked, it's all completely topsy-turvy. I don't know what PD are doing. I think they decided to catch everybody out. It's like Daily Race A is now Daily Race C, and Daily Race C is Daily Race A, but it's A and B and B and A, and oh, yeah. I watched Rory earlier on today just to see what was happening, and I couldn't believe it. Let's just put you on to thingy. He was an A+ in a C lobby. He was doing a Daily Race C as an A+ ranked racer in with B ranked people. I could have jumped into the Daily Race C this afternoon, or this morning when he was racing. Not this afternoon, this morning. I could have been in with Rory Alexander. Can you imagine that? Little old me racing Rory. I'd have got mincemeated. I'd have got absolutely mincemeated. Oh, number one Pops has been on a 20-mile bike ride today and his legs are like jelly. Well, we're not seeing that from the car. The car's looking good. The car's looking quick. So we got Drew. Let's just go through actually the... We'll see the cars on track in a moment. I've got a couple of minutes. Greg White in the RS5 Turbo, the red, blue and black car. Scott Cheggers is in the concept, the grey car. Gamer Dan in the PSR black and green livery. Love that livery. He's in the GTR Nismo. Ollie's in the concept, red and sort of blue, purpley blue colour. Wheels Racing is in the Lexus in a black, green and grey coloured car. That looks like a hulky livery. Very, very much hulky. Don't know whether it is. We will tell. Drew is in a grey and blue concept. Jack Fury is in his white, black and green Nismo. Libiath is in the standard blue concept. Rasterik is in an RS5 Turbo in grey. Borky is in a Turbo in red primarily, but different colours back and front. Bumblebee also in a Turbo, green, khaki green colour. Number one Pops is in the Dunlop, yellow, black and red car, again a Turbo. Galacticor in a concept, blue and yellow car. Stiggy in the last of the Turbos, which is the white and blue car. Right, we are coming up and to start this one. As soon as it goes 22:35, we will get going. Right, be very, very interesting this one. Remember, racing soft and racing medium tyres required. Again, 2 very long straights in this one, with also that very, very technical infield section. We got a tight hairpin into the first corner. We've got the wide hairpin on the end of the back straight. And then you want to get a really nice exit onto the main start finish straight. So quite a lot for the guys to think about in this one. It is a track that comes up in the daily races regularly. I think it's daily race A this week, so it is a track that most will be used to. We're at Deep Forest Raceway. We are 4 lights, we are 5 lights, and we are racing in the sunshine at Deep Forest Raceway. It is Drew that is going to lead us away from Stiggy, Gamer Dan, Rasterick, and Greg White. Stiggy just hitting the front there. Drew sweeping around the outside to make sure that he comes out of there in first place. So Drew 0.2 ahead, Stiggy 0.2 back, and then Gamer Dan 0.4 ahead of Greg White. There is no point in me calling out the times at the moment because they are going to be super tight as we go through the infill complex. Absolutely beautiful, this bit. And we're going to come around the corner, down the hill, over the bridge. Careful of track limits. And then they're going to need to be hard on the brakes as we go across the bridge. Pick up the apex. And then a long, hard run through the tunnel, through the penalty area. Anybody with penalties? I'm hoping not. Oh, Greg White with a penalty. He's got a penalty. I think he's the only one. Looks like the only one. So Greg is going to suffer quite badly. Where's he going to slot in? I think he's going to be 5th or 6th, or maybe even down to 7th with the cars. Scott looking to try and get a good run on Greg. He can't quite get that done. So our A plus ranked racers currently in 5th and 6th. We've got Drew out front, flying in that NSX. He's 1.1 seconds ahead at the moment. Have we just come across Drew's combo? He is looking really, really settled and planted through there. Stiggy and Gamer Dan locked together, not locked together in combat right now. Absolutely nothing between them. Stiggy getting the back end of that car really sideways through there. Gamer Dan would have seen that. He'll know how hard Stiggy's pushing. He'll know how loose that Audi can be at times. Stiggy does have the benefit of DRS, although he's not using it. Oh, that's interesting. So Stiggy not using the DRS on the Audi down the main straight. Wonder if... What's all that about? What is all that about? Is nobody... Has he got the DRS broken on that car? Oh, that could really give Gamer Dan an opportunity. Stiggy, Stiggy, Stiggy. DRS, my friend. It's broken. It's not working on the lead Audi. The lead Audi's got a technical failure. Gamer Dan is going to be very, very fast on the back of him now. Stiggy has lost the advantage of DRS, and Gamer Dan goes really deep. He gets that place. Oh, Greg, he's got no problem with DRS. He's punching that DRS like crazy. Will he know that the other Audi just in front is struggling with no DRS? That is going to give him a massive advantage going down the 2 long straights even. Scott Cheggers in 5th. Ollie down in 6th at the moment. Not in a position that we see Ollie too often. He is some 7 seconds off of Drew in the GR2 car. And I tell you what, that concept in Ollie's hands, very loose on the back end, sliding around all over the place, left and right. Libiath just ahead of Drat Fury, ahead of number 1 Pops with Wheels Racing locked in behind. So this is quite the battle with these guys as they head down towards the tight hairpin. This is the final corner. Wheels takes a little look up the inside of number 1. Number 1 Pops says, nope, sorry mate, you're not coming through here. But then he gets a big old slide on the exit. Wheels will have seen that. Is there anything you can do about it? No, he can't, unfortunately. Oh, I thought Wheels might have been able to take an opportunity, but number 1 gathered that up beautifully. He's got it settled down, and he's got into the slipstream of Drat Fury to head down into turn 1. Wheels trying to go around the outside. Oh, Wheels, that's very, 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 very brave. He's big on the accelerator again there. The Lexus losing the back end. He's gathering it up. Again, these guys are going to need to think about their tyres. I'm not calling out anything on tyres at the moment because a lot of them will not know what they're running on. But all looking very, very interesting. Drew is now nearly 3 seconds out front in that NSX. Is that the car? Is that skill? Is that tyres? Is it a bit of everything? I think it might be. 1 minute 17.8 and the fastest lap for Drew. He is flying. Dan in second. Greg White in third. Greg with the DRS. Stiggy, has he got that DRS working yet? Yes, he has. Okay, the looks like Stiggy wasn't in the pits, so the engineers have managed to get the DRS unstuck. It is now working, and that is enabling Stiggy to stay with Greg. In fact, close up a little on Greg. Closing the DRS as we go into the first corner, sweeping round on the left-hand side corner. Then we're going to get the S's, picking up the apexes, looking absolutely beautiful. Stiggy just picking up the dust there. Lovely apex there too. Beautiful lines. He's chasing down Greg White, and he's got Greg down to 0.8 of a second. Stiggy now with the DRS, using it every opportunity he can, but you don't want to use it through the corners, mate. No, no, no. Oh, Stiggy still with DRS issues. He tried DRS through the corners. You lose the grip on the back end with the DRS, and the car's always going to go round and ollie right on Stiggy's back bumper now. The DRS wide open where it should be. Stiggy struggling with the DRS on that car. It certainly seems to be a little bit unpredictable. Maybe he's got a sticky switch. Certainly not quite panning out the way he would want in this one. Can he get it wide open as we go down? He has. He's going to get DRS down here. Ollie on the inside. Oh no, they're both into the pit side by side. Lots of them jumping in. I hope that they both wanted to pit at that point. Gamer Dan has gone around. He's the only one of the field that has gone around. Let's see. Rasta Rick has gone around. There are only a handful of runners that have gone around on this one. We've got Dan, Drew, Greg White. Actually, some of these guys are exiting the pit, so let's not go there. Dan, 9.6 ahead of Drew at the moment. Drew has pitted. He's 4.8 ahead of Greg White. Drew, watch those tyres. They're cold, mate. Careful, careful, careful for the first few corners. They do take a little bit of time to warm up on this concept, the NSX concept. I've been caught out myself when I've come in and I put slightly harder tyres on, and it becomes quite squirmy. The braking points change and the back end goes really, really light. Hopefully he will be able to tame the beast and continue to work on the margin. He's got plenty of time to game with Dan. Dan is only 9.6 ahead. Dan will need to pit. Dan pits. Dan is in to lose the soft tyres. He's going to be onto the racing mediums, which will be the same tyres as Drew. Drew will come through to resume the lead. I don't know what the lead is going to be like. Gamer Dan looking to try and get out ahead of Greg White. The guys go to work. The hands go up. The hammer goes down. Gamer Dan looking for the white lines. He's all good through there, and he is going to resume in second place, just 0.8 ahead of Greg White. So the mechanics doing an absolutely barnstorming job in the pits just to make sure that Gamer Dan did come out in front of Greg White. There's only half a second between these guys now. Of course, Greg will have the benefit of the DRS, but where is he going to deploy it? Is he going to deploy it during the dangerous bits and see if he can get a bit of an advantage, or is he just going to use the slipstream and then use it down the long straights? Looks like he's playing the sensible and safe game. That was very derogatory to yeah, I'm not going to go there. I apologise. That was very rude, and I'm not going to highlight that. I'm sorry. That was commentators' nightmare, saying something you shouldn't say. Greg White trying to get the undercut on Gamer Dan. Gamer Dan very squiddly and squirmy and all over the place on the exit there, and They're side by side as they go down the hill. Greg White just with a nose up the inside. Can game it down, sweep around the outside. Greg White with the DRS. He's not actually using the DRS. Oh, now he is. Now he is. Didn't want to use it too much. And on the line, it's Drew with a 4-second win. Game it down in second. Greg White in third. Scott Cheggers fourth. I can't keep up with it. We'll catch up with the runners at the end. It really close all the way through. Stiggy just doing a very late pit stop. I think he's maybe forgotten about the pit stop. Bumblebee coming across in 13th, and Borky will just join. He's going to come across in 14th. Not seeing much of the guys towards the back at the moment because they were just incredible racing at the front and midfield. But I'm hoping that everybody had an absolutely cracking race. We will save the replay. Who fancies a very quick Nordschleifer? Who fancies a 1 lap around Nords? I've got time for one more. Gr.x saying the undercut really helped. Yeah, I'm thinking GR2s around the Nords. Drat Fury calling out for a Bashi. We did that the other day. Okay, let's do this very quickly. The result. Drew with a fantastic 1:17.8. I was going to say the only one in the 1:17s, but Ollie did get in there as well. But Drew did get the fastest lap. Game it down in second with a 1:18.3, and Greg White in third with a 1:18.3 as well. A 3:16 and a 3:37. Very close between those two. Just 1/10 of a second on the line. Gamer Dan just winning out to the DRS. Scott Cheggers in fourth. I did say the 2A pluses would come through nicely. They did, third and fourth. Rasta Rick with a fine fifth. Ollie in sixth. Libya seventh. Drat Fury in eighth. Number one Pops in ninth. Wills 10th. Bumblebee Croix in 11th. Borky 12th. Galactical 13th. Stiggy in 14th. Did get that DRS working at the end, but it was Drew, Gamer Dan and Greg White, your 1, 2 and 3. And now I just need to set the event settings. Bear with me a second. Let's go to the Nürburgring. We'll do the 24-hour track. I'm just going to go 1 lap around here. Custom weather. We'll go early morning. That's all fine. That's fine. That's all good. We'll go 1 and 1. We'll take that up to 1. Practice some race GR2s, and we'll go soft tyres only. Soft. That's all fine. And I suspect this is going to be completely crazy. We'll set that one. And what was that? Somebody's just saying, Stiggy, could find his DRS button, laugh out loud. Mate, know your car, know your equipment. Well, it made it fun. It did make it very fun. Oh. Drac, it's really hard to do a comms on Bashi. I find it really hard to do that. So let me just stick with the GR2s around here. Are we not getting anybody in? Does nobody want to do this one? I think we got a problem here because Rasta Rick is in and the room is still being prepared. I think we got a problem, guys. Rick, can you just exit out a moment? Yeah, it is. It's gone. Okay, let's just do a quit and I'll redo that one. obviously you are all going to need to, or those of you who want to race are going to need to jump into this one. I tell you what, guys, tomorrow, Wednesday, I'm hosting Hulkies, but tomorrow we could do a Smashy Bashy, and on Wednesday we could do a rally as end of night races. If there is time, let me know if there's time, and that's what we want to do. I haven't got one set up. Okay, what we'll do is we'll grab that. We'll come down here. Bear with me a second. I wasn't planning on doing this, so I've just got to get this sorted out very, very, very quickly. But that was one. That was one. Take that up. That's all fine. And we want to get rid of those two. And we'll go soft tyres. Save the setting. No, don't overwrite that one. I've got that set up for Hulky's race on Wednesday because I'm going to be hosting that. I'm not racing it because I can't do long races at the moment with my back the way that it is. I need to rest. Yeah. Right. So hopefully we'll get everybody back in. Yeah, Rick, we had a bit of an issue, so hopefully you guys will all be able to get back in. And Drac Fury is saying a deal. Drac, I'm going GR2s. I'm going GR2s. Sorry, mate. Going GR2s on this one because it's quick, and we'll be able to get done just before my 11 o'clock. I promised Joe I'll go to bed at 11 o'clock this evening. She's put new stuff on my back. I'll have some ibuprofen I'll take. And I didn't get much sleep over the weekend, so I do want to call it a night at 11 tonight. I've got to get myself well so I can get back to longer streams and racing and the daily races. Although the daily races look horrendous this week. I don't know what PD are doing. I'm actually quite glad I'm not racing them this week. But I have got some World Circuit races that I want to try and get done this week, those videos. There was a few people that asked me to do the World Touring Car 600 at the Nürburgring, at the Nordschleife. That was done, and that video, assuming there's no errors with it, will be going out tomorrow. A lot of people going in very expensive exotic cars, £1 million cars. A lot of people doing engine tunes and things, and well, I've done it in £200,000 car, no engine swap, no mega horrible tune, no silliness, very, very easy. I mean, the clue is on the screen. The clue is on the screen. Right, where are we? Oh, we've lost Rasta Rick. We've lost Rick. I'm hoping to try and get back everybody. So Scott Checkers is in, Gamer Dan is in, Ollie, Wills, Drew, Drac, Borky, Bumblebee, Number One, Galacticor, Stiggy. Is Rick coming back? Oh, he's joining. Okay, I'll wait. Thank you. This is why we do YouTube chat, guys. A lot of people say, why do you insist on YouTube chat? Two reasons. One, I interact with people through the YouTube chat rather than an in-game chat because it causes us problems. But the YouTube chat, I've got a two-way. People can talk to me and I can talk to them. And secondly, obviously, if there are any incidents, as you've seen tonight, people will apologise in the chat. It is just a really nice little forum. Everybody can publicly see what's going on. People that are watching can see the chat. They can see the respectfulness that we have at PSR. And that is one of the reasons why a lot of people actually want to come and race with us, because they do see a lot of this. So, you know, there are reasons why I have PSR set up with Discord and YouTube chat in the way that I do. And an awful lot goes on in Discord as well. I'm hoping that the guys that have raced as testers tonight or trials, that they will be able to join the Discord and will come and race with us again. I'm loving having Scott back in the room racing with us. It's been absolutely brilliant. And he raced with me crumbs way back when. I think Scott was one of the early racers that raced with me when I first started doing lobbies. So great to have him back racing with us tonight, and great to have an A+ rank racer in the room. Have we lost Greg? We have. We've lost Greg at the minute. Does anybody know if Greg's coming back, or have we lost Greg? I haven't seen anything in the chat, but I do want to get this one going. I think we've got most people. Let me just get an R if you guys are ready, and then we'll go. If I can just get an R in the chat, that would be good. I'm a little bit behind with the YouTube chat, so Greg, if you went, I apologise for not saying goodbye. Ooh. Unless I'm... Who have we got? Scott Cheggers, Gamer Dan, Ollie, Wills, Drew, Drat Fury, Rasterick, Borky, Bumblebee Croix, Number One Pops, Galactical and Stiggy. Those are the... So I think we are going to get going. Let's get this one underway. Let's get going. We've got Scott Cheggers, Gamer Dan, Ollie, Wills Racing, Drew, Drat Fury, Rasterick, Borky, Bumblebee, Number One Pops, Galactical and Stiggy. Everybody, I hope you have a really, really, really great race in this one. Again, it's all about the taking part. Everybody wants to win, but there are some very quick people in here. Ollie, very, very, very quick. He's a Nürburgring Nordschleife whiz around here. Not so, don't know about Scott. We will see. Gamer Dan is no slouch. There's a few others as well. And Borky's been getting quick as well just recently. Oh, Drew making up places off the line. What a blinding start Drew got. Can he get it slowed down into this corner? He could even be top 3 as we come out the end of it. Oh, he gets taken around. Oh no, I think Rasterick just potentially caught the front of him, I think there. I think Rasterick just slowing down a little bit at the moment. Just waiting for Drew to catch up. Thank you, Rasta. That's very respectful. Appreciate that, my friend. He's got the indicator on. By the way, guys, if you are in an incident and you are waiting for somebody, please make sure you do it on a straight where it's safe to do so. I have not been calling that out lately, and a few people have picked me up on it. It's nothing worse than pulling over through a series of corners and causing more problems behind. So keep going and then pull over on a straight and watch out for whoever you had the bump with. And thank you to Rasterick for doing that and letting them through. But up front it is Wills and Gamer Dan. Wills has had a real topsy-turvy night tonight. On occasions he's been right up there. He's been going really, really well, and then suddenly something's happened. So it is just a single lap here. Can he keep it together? Gamer Dan 0.7 out front at the moment as we get on to the Nordschleife. This is where it starts to get interesting. So Gamer Dan 0.5 ahead of Wills, who's 3 seconds ahead of Drat Fury. Drak is going well in the Nissan. Stiggy in 4th. Don't forget that DRS button, my friend, but don't do it in the corners because it'll have you off. But I tell you what, that's going to come into good use later on. No, Wills, what are you doing? Off! No, 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 no! Oh no! Oh no! Number One Pops just turned him round. Oh, as he's trying to join. Wills having a mare of a race this evening. Oh no! No, 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 no. I think he's waiting now, possibly waiting for Rasterick. Oh, what a shame! What a shame. Up front, Gamer down by 3.5 seconds. Drat Fury in second, 3 seconds ahead of Stiggy now. Stiggy using the DRS on the straights. He's going to turn that off before he gets into this right-hander. And he's going to need to bury the brake pedal down into this corner. Drew in 4th. Number One Pops going well in 5th at the moment. And Scott Cheggers in 6th. Borky just a little bit further back. He's in 7th. And then we've got Ollie. Ollie's very, very quick. He's in a different car in this one. He's in the one car or whatever it's called. I can never remember what it's called, but great looking car. Looking like an LMP more than a GR2. that particular car. But he's got Galacticor all over the back of him and Bumblebees all over the back of Galacticor. Wheels Racing just off the back and recovering. Just off the back of these guys. Ollie can see Borky less than 3 seconds down the road. Borky going well. He's chasing down Scott, who's chasing down number 1. Out the front, it is Gamer down by 5.4 seconds now with Drat Fury 1.5 behind. And then Stiggy has got Drew right on his back bumper. Hard to see where the battles are around the Nordschleife because the mini-map is so small, all of the arrows are on top of each other. So I apologise for bouncing around a bit, but when you're doing this live, it's very, very difficult to be able to jump to where the action is. The action at the moment, as far as I'm concerned, is Stiggy and Drew and Drat Fury with a big moment. Wow, what a save. You could see Drat Fury's Nissan was fishtailing all over the place there. I don't know whether he was just gathering that up. He's doing the same off. I think he's struggling with the curbs a little bit with that Nissan. Hello, Rachel. Thank you for popping in, my friend. She's in the lobby at the moment. Unfortunately, just a little bit too late to join us, but thank you for popping in. Stiggy with a run on Drat Fury. Drew just off the back of this one. Can Stiggy find a way? Oh, sorry, can Drew find a way through? Stiggy find a way through? Can Drat Fury stay ahead? Stiggy's right on the back. Drew's not far off the back here. He's just 0.6 behind. Oh, Drat Fury off on the grass and then big into the side of Stiggy. Stiggy holding it. Well held, Stiggy. That could have been so different. Drat Fury pushing. Yeah, a big old slide there and then into the barrier. That has demoted him down into 3rd place. Stiggy in 2nd. But Stiggy getting it a little bit loose through the carousel there. Gamer down 7.4 ahead at the moment. Stiggy 1 second back to Drew. And Drew just 0.2 back to Drat Fury. And half a second back to number 1. And then we're 4 seconds back to Scott. 1.5 back to Borky. And then 7 back to Rasterick. He's having a race with Wheels, who's just a couple of seconds off and catching. And Galacticor point was just 1 second back from Rasterick. Sorry, 1 second back from Wheels, who's 1 second ahead of Bumblebee. And then we got Ollie at the back. Ollie struggling in that car. He's having a mare of a race. He's normally going very, very well. Rachel, yes, sorry, it is the last race of the night, I'm afraid. Unfortunately, yes. I'm just going to say sorry, yes. It is the last one for tonight, unfortunately. It'd be lovely to have had Rachel racing. But it is Gamer down out front. 7.5 seconds ahead of Stiggy. Stiggy with Drew all over the back of him. And Drat Fury's just dropped off the back a little bit of these two. Just a single one. And we're going to be coming around to the long straight in a moment. I think Dan will breathe a sigh of relief when he sees the long straight. And he's just about to see that now. He's got a long drag down the hill. Don't turn right, my friends. Don't turn right at the bottom of the hill. Drew with Stiggy and Drat Fury right behind him. Is Drat Fury going to work with Stiggy to try and get onto the back of Drew? Or are they just going to continue to go? Ollie says that car sucks. He's definitely chosen the wrong car tonight. Oh, Stiggy just getting past. Good night, Rachel. Thank you for popping in. Drew just getting a move on Stiggy there. So Drew timing that slip absolutely lovely. Stiggy closing the DRS as we get through to the final section. They need to keep it clean and tiny. Gamer Danny is going to come across the line to take the win by nearly 8 seconds. Drew is going to come across the line 0.8 ahead of Stiggy. 0.13 ahead of number 1. Number 1 6.5 ahead of Drat Fury, who must have had a mare at the end. He's going to come across 2.5 seconds-ish ahead of Borky, who's got Rasterick behind in 7th, Wheels Racing in 8th. Scott Cheggers is going to come across in 9th. And then just behind, we've got Bumblebee, 2 seconds ahead of Galacticor, ahead of a very, very slow and woeful Ollie. It's not often we see Ollie off the back last by, look at that, 51 seconds behind the leader. Struggling. It looks super quick, that car. Unfortunately, around here, it just is not the car to be in. Definitely not that one. Definitely not that one. So I will save the replay for that one. I will share it as normal. And then unfortunately, we are at 11 o'clock. And I am calling it a night at 11 because I need to continue to recover. And Dan saying, thank you for the races. Have a great evening further. Thank you, my friend. I am heading off straight to bed. I'll tell you, I'm cream crackered. I haven't done a race tonight, and I am completely and utterly cream crackered just from watching some amazing racing. Gamer Dan was your winner. The fastest lap, obviously, it's all a bit academic, but a 7:29.92. Drew in a fine second. Stiggy in a nice third. Number one Pops in fourth. Jack Fury fifth. Borky in sixth. Rasterik in seventh. Wheels having a mare of a night in eighth. Ninth for Scott Cheggers. Bumblebee came across 10th. Galacticor 11th. And Ollie, well, in 12th. And off to have a word with his chief engineer and mechanics, because they definitely got something wrong in that one. Gamer Dan in the Nismo out front. Drew in the Concept in second. Stiggy in the Turbo in third. Nice to see 3 different cars in the top 3. Those are your runners for the last race of the evening. Thank you ever so much, guys. I can see that most people have left already. I will just quit the room. Thank you so much for all of the racing and for the entertainment this evening. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please smack the like button for the stream. It really does help it. If you're new around here, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I've been on 111, 112, 111, 112 all day long. And I've got the Nürburgring video coming out, the Nordschleife video coming out, hopefully overnight. Watch out for that tomorrow. And then we'll be back tomorrow. TCSR are running their own lobby tomorrow. I won't be in the race. I've pulled out of that one already. Wednesday, I will be doing the Hulky Racing race between 9 and 10. I'm hosting that for Hulky. That is the 50-minute race that unfortunately Rita and I have had to pull out from on medical grounds. Thursday, I'll be doing the normal lobby racing. And then Friday, we'll do some sort of Friday night special. Guys, I haven't got a Friday night special in mind. So if you have got something you'd like to do, maybe a car that you'd like to explore, maybe a track or a combination of tracks, or just something that you want to do, then reach out and let me know. If not, we could do a last man standing. We could do a cat and mouse. We could do a decade. All sorts of things that we can do. Hit me up in Discord. Let me know what you'd like to do. It's coming up for 11:10. I'm going to bed. Thank you ever so much for watching. Have yourselves a great morning, evening, night, day. Whatever you're doing, have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.